Good evening, everybody. My name is Tom Pompei. I'm a licensed three-star instructor, three-star instructor with Parelli Natural Horsemanship. And we are here tonight with our virtual lesson for December. And we've got some great things going on. First, a couple of commercials. First, the Florida season is in full swing. We're down here in Florida, Southwest Florida. We've got 6 clinics scheduled. And you're going to meet Marianne in a minute if you haven't. And she's hosting those clinics down here in Port Charlotte. And lots of private lessons going on and some amazing packages that give you great deals leading to those clinics. So we've got 3 level 1-2 clinics and 3 level 3-4 clinics scheduled down here through January, February, and March. And then come April, Mike and I and the team, we're heading back up north to Centerville, Ohio, which is Dayton area in Southwest Ohio. And almost hot off the press, here it is, the Ohio schedule. Not quite ready to announce yet, but there's some really good things on here, and it will be out very shortly. The Big South Fork, Tennessee Trail Ride Week, Parelli Horsemanship and Trail Riding in Tennessee. I hope anybody from Florida or Ohio come join us. There's a spring wild and woolly clinic, which is a great time to get your horses out and get them tuned up. And our focus clinics are back, where we do 3 days, 3 half days. And let's see what else is going on. There's a level 1 clinic in July. Oop, I can't say dates yet because we're not publishing dates yet. There's a mini clinic that'll feature all mini horses. There's a level 3-4, there's a level 2, there's a horse analogy. So there is a lot going on. Wow, I'm going to be busy. So I can't wait to get that to you. And if you want first dibs on this information, it'll go out on the email list. So if you haven't gotten yourself on that list yet, go to tompompei.com. So that's it for the commercial break. So somebody asked in the chat before we started if they could ask a question, and I'm going to leave room for questions at the end. So whoever that was, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice. I just saw it go right through the chat there. Yes, you can ask questions. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get started and jump right in because the first topic is circle game and getting your circle game at farther distance. And Marianne Taylor had a lesson with her horse Kid, and Kid was having some trouble understanding why in the world he should go out, and then he would try to game it back, and he'd change directions or put up a fuss about it or just not want to go out into that distance. And so what I first want to do is give you all a picture, and I've seen Pat Parelli do this clinics on top of any time he goes out for a session or a big event. Most recently, I saw him in Indiana do this. He came out, and it was kind of a smallish arena, but he sat down in a chair, and he was supposed to talk about theory, and he sat himself in a chair, sent his horse on a circle, and that horse cantered 20 minutes. Perfect circle while he talked about theory. And that horse just kept going around and around, relaxed, and just really understood his job. And I was like, my circle game's not that good. But that's the picture I have in mind. It's a picture of understanding that the horse really understands the circle game. It's not the egg game. It's not an egg shape. It's a true circle. They're holding their body on the circle. They're maintaining gait. They're maintaining direction. They're connected. They're rhythmic. There's understanding. It's a beautiful picture. So I have a picture of that. So I want to show you that. And it's in the levels program. This is level 4 online, and it's Pat. And I'm going to put this video on just so we can all get a picture of what this can look like. And just so you know, it's not necessarily the easiest horse. It's a younger horse. But in the hands of Pat, it's pretty darn good. So got some tech things to do here. I'm going to make this the spotlight video. And then remember, if you're in gallery view, you might want to switch over to the big screen there in speaker view, or maybe it just came up for you. I don't know. And let's see if we can find the video. So here we go. And I'm just going to forward it on to about 3 minutes in. And you can see, this is not like a drop dead easy horse, but he really understands a few things, but he's kind of checking out, isn't he? He's looking to the outside a little bit. And then what Pat's going to be doing here is basically just waiting while he talks for that horse to get some connection and some understanding. But just take a look at that and what's about to happen. He's starting to understand that, oh, this is just my circle game, and he's starting to relax a little bit. And he's right there at the end of the line. Got nice impulsion. Isn't that a nice picture? I wish my arena was that big, so I can get out on the 45 in an indoor arena. Lovely. So there's a lot you can do to help that. One of the things that Pat likes to do is just wait until he'll say, well, yeah, you can do 20 laps at the canter, but how many of them are good laps? We've yet to, for Pat's standard, we've yet to see a good lap. So, waiting for that relaxation, that connection, that understanding, and then maybe two laps are good. You can kind of see that horse is coming to him now. So I'm just as guilty as everybody of doing a few laps and maybe just training the outside of the horse, just the physical part of the horse, instead of waiting or setting it up to help the horse be connected. So lovely picture. I could just sit and watch that forever. That's just great. All right, so Marianne, you're going to be on the spot a little bit, and after this, Marianne, if it's okay, I'll call on you and ask you. Oh, I'm over here. I'll ask you a few questions. But what I want to do is share a little bit of the before and then the after, and then I'll ask Marianne some questions. Okay, is that okay, Marianne? She's nodding. Yes. Okay, good. All right. So here's kind of the before picture, and Kid. First of all, Kid's been through a lot with his health, and he's finally back to being healthy. And this is what the circle game was looking like before we tried this little skill we're about to share with everybody. And what Kid would do is pretty good send, and you can tell Marianne's been doing the 4 o'clock and the 8 o'clock circle send, but if she asks Kid to go farther out, he'll either turn or stop or just not go out. And he's normally a left brain extrovert, and everything has to be a game to a left brain extrovert. So she's asking for a little speed up. That's one strategy, is to speed up to get him to be farther out. And then what happens with Kid is he just gets upset with that. And then he'll change directions on his own and cross over the rope. And we've all been there, right? Marianne, thank you for being brave and sharing that with us, even though you didn't know you were going to do that. And so this is the after picture with a strategy that we used for this horse that works really nice. And we use targets. So if you look, there's cones out, pretty darn spread out. In fact, when you're in the center, the cones are about 45 feet away. So on this game, the game is, you've always heard this from both Pat and Linda, you got to make it a game. And I never really understood what that meant until I started figuring out, oh, games have little rules. And the game is, go around one of those cones that's strategically placed 45 feet away, and you can come in. And not only does that make it a game for the horse to figure out, but it gives the human a really strong focus, and it gives it a short-term yes answer. Instead of being the minister of no, get out there, come on you, it's like, hey, can you figure the game out? And what you'll see here is we also did the rope tossing techniques, which helped, because Kid is so smart. He realized at 22 feet, You can't touch me. Na, 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 na. So he's eyeing those cones now, and Marianne's just waiting for him to make a decision. Getting farther and farther out. Like, how do I get this to stop? What's the end game? Like, nope, that's not the end game. So look, Marianne's doing a great job there with her rope handling. She's like, no, you got to keep going, my friend. Just keep going. It's not the end of the game yet. If he'd have changed directions, we would have let him. Just fine, go change direction, because we're just playing the game of, can you go out and around a cone on the circle game? So I don't know. I think he's about to get it. Yes. And look at that. Come on in. Lovely. Marianne's like, what took you so long, dude? Isn't that great? So what Marianne did was she continued to play this game after I left, and then she sent me an email or text and said, you won't believe it. He's like offering to go all the way out on the 45. And I said, yeah, I believe it, because we're playing a psychology game with his personality. So then Marianne sent me this after video here. I think this is the right one. Yeah, I think this is the right one. So she took this afterwards, and it's a little harder to see, but the quality is not good because we sent it over the interweb. There's her send. And you see right away, he's out there seeking those cones. And so what she's done is she's gradually said, okay, well, how about, would you consider 2 cones? And then she brought him in. Then she said, would you consider going out and around 3 cones? And would you consider even a 4th cone? And so you'll notice what'll happen is he's going to check in more and more and say, hey, is that the game? Is that what you wanted? And so he's thinking into the center now, instead of having his evil thoughts of gaming it back. So that was fantastic. And now my favorite video that got sent was this one. This was afterwards also. Marianne, let me see if I can find it. There it is. And what I liked about this one is the understanding was just so great here. And if you watch the send on this, it's really, I can tell that Marianne's done David Lichtman's boomerang game. Because it's, at first it looks like he's thinking boomerang, and she goes, no, I wanted a circle. And he goes, oh yeah. So watch this. This is just so good. He's like, I'll go out to the cone. Oh, you meant circle. Okay, I can do circle. Isn't that great? And then it just appears that, Marianne, you forgot your lead rope and halter on this take. What? This is at Liberty. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Checked in, understanding. Can I come in? Yes, you can. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So that's that picture right there. That's a really nice picture. Well done. And so that's when you apply the right technique or the right bit of psychology and understanding to it. When I was first doing this, I was kind of spanking a lot and wondering why my horse wouldn't do that. And he was a left brain introvert, but he would also get pretty extroverted too. And he'd go slower and slower because he was an introvert. Did I put it back yet? No, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Tech support, Mike. Stop video, rename. I don't know how to do that. Should go back to me. Cancel spotlight video. Is it back on me yet? Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, it's because I'm muted. Okay. Check, check, check. The host spotlighted your video for everyone. Unmute myself. Yes, please. All right. Am I back on yet? Okay, well, maybe put it over to gallery and see if it doesn't write itself.
Vicky says yes.
Oh, Vicky can see me? Okay. Mike can't see me. All right. So hey, where are you? I got to go back to gallery view myself. Boink. There's Marianne. Hey, Marianne, did you want to talk about how that process went with you and what worked, what didn't work? And I can either unmute you or you can unmute yourself.
Okay, I think I hear me. You hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you really pretty well described the process when you did the before and after videos. The first thing that I had to do was to get him to stop bringing me the cones because I've created a monster. I taught him how to pick up a hat and hand it to me and chase a ball and bring it back to me. So now anything that is out there, he thinks, oh, let me bring it to you and maybe we'll be done. So I get him through that. We play with the cones for a few minutes and then we work on the games. But really, this horse is really smart. And if he knows, if he's got those targets, it really works well for him. Once he understands, he has those markers and he understands that, really works well for him. But Tom, you and I had our lesson on a Tuesday. And then I have a boarding facility. So Wednesday, Thursday was fence work all day. So I didn't get to play with him again until that Friday. Wait, let's see, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So he had 2 days to lick and chew on it. And when I brought him out there, we actually did the Liberty first and then the online. We went out there and he was so connected and I thought, well, just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to give it a try. And he did. So it was amazing. You're a genius.
Well, thanks, but my hat won't fit through the doorway. No, I'm not a genius. The Parelli program is the genius part of this because that's just something Pat and Linda have been teaching forever is you use the strategies that work. Another good strategy to make it a game that we talked about was to maybe do, I'm not sure how much space everybody has, but if you have enough space, get somewhere where you can do a traveling circle farther than a 22 and end it over a jump so that they're like doing hunt the jump out there. And that works really nice too. So one of the patterns that I have all of our horses do is I'll put them on the 45. They'll do canter laps until there's some relaxation and understanding and rhythm. And then I'll move my circle somewhere where there'll be a log or some barrels in the way and they'll jump them. And I'll say, great, game over, come on in. So what's happening is that when I start moving my circle around, they're looking, they're hunting. They're like, ooh, I bet there's something I can jump. And they know that might end the game or that's what the game is. And then sometimes it might be 2 jumps and it's like, oh, don't come in yet. I want one more. Oh, okay. So it becomes conversational instead of a make. So
I think that's what really, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I think that's what really made it for kid. I tend to want too much at one time. I have to really work on taking little bites. And that's what's really working for him is getting the understanding of the 1 cone and then, okay, we do the 1 cone a couple times and okay, now I want 2 cones and then he gets it. But breaking it down into those smaller pieces before you get that end picture is huge, especially for my horse.
yeah, and it gives him, it's like, I learned this with kids, those of you with kids, but I learned it as a teacher, that you have to have the yes answer achievable, very, very, very achievable. I've heard a lot of great horsemen recently, in fact, say, you need to make your horse successful, whatever it takes. They need to be successful. And if it means changing your goals or making, like you just said, a smaller goal, a little bit a piece, I want my horses to feel like rock stars. I want them to look forward to the training session. And I've screwed that up plenty of times. I've had horses that wouldn't even want to get in the round pen with me. They're like, oh, I don't want to go in there. Too much pressure. And that kind of hurt me a little bit. But then I realized, well, I haven't made them feel good in there. I haven't made them feel successful. So so now, heck, we feed our horses in the round pen, and we make sure that we end as strong as you just did. And that's the other little nugget of lesson here, is where you stop is big, especially for a horse when they're in a learning mode. Where you quit is really, really, really important, especially if they've just learned something. I'm a musician, and that's not what musicians do. We drill. We run our scales, we practice over and over again. We get a facility of technique just drilled in, so then we can pull on that creatively. That's like the musician's mind, but that's not how horses work. So we have to think like horses. So good job, Marianne. That was great. I can't wait to see how you extend that and keep going and working on that. And maybe, just maybe, next one of these times we need to do flying lead changes for our topic, because I know Marianne's working on that, and they are coming. Marianne got,
I hope so.
you got 4. Well, I saw 4 of them. They weren't the prettiest, but they were 4 flying lead changes. So you got them. Great. Well, thank you, Marianne, for doing that. And if anybody else wants to be kind of put on the spotlight a little bit, I promise to take care of you and not embarrass you. But feel free to send me a video. I really like when you're working on something in the levels program that maybe you're stuck on or just want a little help. Shoot me a little bit of video. I'll coach you, and then I'll ask permission before we use it here. I won't do that unless I ask permission. So, and that makes this work really nice, especially if you're in a colder climate. It doesn't have to be something that's like boogie and move out. It doesn't have to be level 4. It can be anything. So that's just a good way to keep our community going and share. So again, hats off, Marianne, and well done. Well, tip of the hat. Well done. Super. All right. So there is another little skill that I want to show that I took a video of today, and I'll apologize in advance. It's not very refined video, and I picked the horse that probably didn't know it as well. So I wanted to show you this, and this is another technique to help your send. Last Zoom, we did that walk to 8 o'clock and windmill and walk to 4 o'clock to really get a very spectacular send. And I happened to be watching the levels program, and I noticed, again, that sucker, Pat Parelli's horses, they're so athletic. They're like a coiled spring when they go into the circle game. And my horses kind of go, but they're not as coiled. And I looked at it and I realized that there's a whole video right there of Pat unwinding his horse. You know how you unwind your horse in a as part of the pre-flight check? Well, there's a great exercise in level 4 where you unwind your horse and then send them. And what that does is it rocks their weight forward and then rocks their weight back and allows them to coil their spring and engage. So I wanted to show you that real quick. So we're gonna head back over to Spotlight Video. And Spotlight Video. And that means I get to switch chairs. And I think it is under Sticks Turn and Go, we called it.
Spotlight's on here.
All right.
Maybe it's me.
I think it's you, Mike. There you go. What did you change?
I hit remove spotlight.
Oh, and maybe it's because you're a host. I think that's it. Okay. So anyway, this is where we're keeping our horses now on the island, by the way, and we've been doing a little bit of work over there. But so this was the first time I did this with him. So the hardest part of this little game is remembering which hand your stick goes in.
Tom, I don't see that. I see the side of your white hat.
Oh, okay. We need to get you on, get it back on Spotlight Video. Let me make sure it's. Take myself off. Oh, don't worry, I'll replay. I'll replay it again. Don't worry. And I want to make this one spotlight. All right, is that working?
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right. All right. Well, gee, it's too bad you all missed that. No, I'll put it back. So there's some prerequisites here, of course, having your horse comfortable with ropes around them and doing this little unwind game. It's in level 2 online. And then right here, sending him out. Do you see how he rocked back with his feet? And then I had him canter backwards. Very advanced. Oh, that is cool looking. Now it's a little reactive, but watch the send now in slow-mo right there. See him, he sucks back and propels off his back feet right there. That's what we're after. I'd rather that be a little more relaxed, but it will. Boom. And with that kind of send, that energy really helps out quite a lot in maintaining a 45-foot line. The other thing I'm doing in here is I noticed with this that he also is thinking to the outside. So what I'll be doing in a second is spiraling in and then spiraling out. So I like how he corrected himself there. So watch Tom, don't watch the horse. I know he's a good looking horse. But if you watch him, you'll notice that with each lap, I'm taking one coil in. And it's usually, I think it was savvy and I did it by the camera here. So right there, see, I took in a coil. And then what I'll do after that is I'll let a coil go out again. So this is a strategy for your, that works really nice for your introverted horses too, and also your right brainers. There's a lot of right brain horses, they're afraid to be out. And so this is approach retreat for a right brain horse. For a left brain horse, this is, wow, smaller circles are not as easy as bigger circles. And so then they'll seek the bigger circle because it's actually easier. So that's that. Just wanted to show you that. Just playing a little bit with sticks over there. Okay, does anybody have any questions on that circle game business? And I think, let's see how savvy I can be. Cancel spotlight video. There's a whole new button right there. Yay, I'm getting good. Does anybody have any questions on that and about the circle game or what you saw or didn't see? And I need to go back to gallery view. There's everybody. Hi, everybody. I see you again. So if you want to raise your hand, you press the button to raise your hand, or Bonnie, go ahead. There's a lot of people on here. Hi, everybody. Bonnie, you can, there you are.
Yeah. Do you have me, Tom? Can you hear me? Okay. I missed the very beginning of the video where you showed what you did to wind the horse up. Was it basically just kind of the follow the feel with the rope around the rump? And then as they spun out, you sent them out?
That's it exactly. So it was just follow the feel. As you back up, they spin. And then in the direction that front end's going, that's the way you send them.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Oh, it's a great question. And to me, the hard part, I kind of mentioned it, the hard part is knowing what hand to put your stick in because they're going around. And as a right brain person, I have to have a picture of it. So if the horse is going to the right, your stick's in your left hand. Now that sounds easy to think about, but when you're in there spinning your horse around, it's kind of like, wow, which one? And then if you're using a 45-foot line for it, if you're working in level 4, that's another complication. You can do this on the 22, You don't have to do this on the 45. In fact, you should do it on the 22 first and get used to it. 45 is another complication if you're not good with your coils and your rope handling skills. I found it easier on the 45 to not even use the carrot stick. I sent him and put pressure on with my coils. But this is a horse that's very used to coils being carrot coils. Instead of carrot stick. Like he knows the coils sometimes are pressure and sometimes they're friendly. He really gets that. I've met a lot of horses, especially a lot of horses around ropers who don't know natural horsemanship or don't understand that their ropes always mean pressure. And so the horse looks at the rope and goes, ugh, and gets a little bit funny about it. Or they just have a misunderstanding and think ropes are pressures. Excellent. Any other questions?
Tom?
Yeah. I
Hey,
see. Is
so-
this Chris?
Yeah, this is Chris from Indiana with Goldie.
Oh, hi, Chris.
How do you get a horse like Goldie that gets bored with these games quickly to maintain the circle game?
Really good question. So especially a horse that is maybe a little under-impulsed already and just doesn't have a good go, right? And so, you know, we said make it a game, but reverse psychology works really well too for a horse that's just not motivated to go. And here's a couple examples of reverse psychology that can work really well on your circles. One is, well, first of all, horses like that hate the circle game because they think it's boring, and it can be. So make it a game like this. Ask the horse to go slower than they want to go. Make it a game of how slow can you go without stopping? And I mean stupid slow, which is hard for me because I'm an extroverted person, but I mean creepy. Can you get your horse to go creepy, crawly slow? Nope, that's too fast. Slow down. And they'll look at you like, what in the world? Because they're waiting for you to push them so they can brace against you. And so that's a really fun strategy that can work.
So what do you start with to get them that slow? Because if you remember, Goldie's the one that got away from both of us quite a few times. And how do you, I guess, how do I even turn her around to get her to the point where she'll even go slow?
Yeah, well, that's for the horse that's really slow. And then for Goldie also, lots of hindquarter disengage. If she's not connected, we played, I will share this with everybody if you're okay. We played the 1/8 game with Goldie, did we not?
Yes, we did.
So on the send, Goldie was like, I'm out, and wanted to rip away. And so we played the 1/8 game, which there's a joke behind that, and I'll tell it later. But the moment that horse thought away from you or away from the circle, just disengage and come in. And Goldie didn't make it very far, just a little bit. Say, no, you come in, don't go away. The moment that horse lost engagement. And then let me ask you guys, what are some other ways that you can have a horse think more like a game and be more engaged in a circle game? Val, go ahead. She's looking for her mute. There she is.
That's where you can send them to different things, have them run to a tree and then get to stop, and then they can go to another thing that you send them to.
Good. So make it
Point.
make it like a target game or a point to point. That's excellent. Thanks, Val. Who's got some other ideas of how can you make a circle game more interesting to a horse? Go ahead, Suzanne.
And Bonnie.
Okay, Suzanne, then Bonnie.
Okay, I was thinking maybe you get, my horse is slow as he can do, but he does like to jump. And I put a jump in there. It speeds him up.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. So cavaletti or an actual jump?
Right,
Both-
just a low jump. He'll do it.
Good. Yeah, it gives a reason, right? Why are we doing this? Just another boring, stupid circle. We've got a horse named Lightfoot. If you guys knew him a few years ago, he's a turn and burner too. And I remember we talked about that with the horse we were just talking about, Goldie, that if he's not connected, he's not connected. He is gone. He just takes off. Very good. You guys have some good answers. Does anybody else want to jump in on that? Bonnie, did you have something?
Hi, Tom. Yeah. Just again, a point of clarification on the 1/8 game, because this is the first time I'm hearing it. When you ask for the disengagement, is the disengagement game over? Or is it just a
Yeah.
field?
Yeah, and it's not really the 8th game. I have a story for that in just a moment, but it's the 1/8.
Okay,
And so
1/8, that's
yeah,
what I meant to say.
joke. It's a bit of a joke because a lot of horses on the sand, they disconnect from you. They feel that pressure and their nose just goes, "Oh, I'm gone,"
Yeah.
instead of staying connected with you on the sand. So the
Yeah,
moment,
that's what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
yeah. And then so the moment they disconnect from you, you just drive the hindquarter away and say, "Turn face, come in." Yeah, and end the game. Yeah. Because it's the connection is king. The connection is more important than anything. So what it does end up looking like, my horse only made it an 1/8 of the pie. And so we joke around a little bit. One of Pat Parelli's big fear we talked about at the beginning about how important it is to him that we be qualified as licensed Parelli professionals to teach his program our way. It doesn't mean we can change it. And so I think his biggest fear is like Tom or somebody is going to come up with an 8th game that's way better than Pat's 7 games. So it's called the 1/8 game. And it's not really a game. It's not. It just kind of made that up. In fact, that's kind of
Yeah, I
kind of silly, you know.
Yeah, my voice cut out on the one part. I've been outside teaching all day and my voice cut out on the one part. So I got it written down as 1/8 and
1/8,
got
yeah.
the idea
Yeah,
that when
and
the
it-
send, my new horse's nose just goes right out.
Yeah, and so that's a good
I
one.
don't want her to disconnect and I'm having trouble keeping her connected. Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Yes, and that's a good one for Goldie too, we all want our horses connected, right? Well, what is that? Well, we know what it looks like. They're kind of looking at us. They're straight on the circle. In other words, they're curved on the circle. They look like that picture of Pat's horse we just saw. But I want the horses to think to the center. And, you know, the guy with the hat or the guy in the gal in the whatever, the boots or whatever you're wearing, that's where I want them thinking to the center of the circle. So a lot of these psychology things we're doing are ways to say, hey, this horse needs to think to the center, like spiraling in is another one. Touch it was brought up, making it a game and then coming back. That wonderful picture of Marianne's horse at Liberty on a 90-foot circle at Liberty. Then looking at her going, is that what you want? And she goes, yes. Thinking to the center is just really profound. And I just want to add one more, unless anybody else wants to add other things, because I don't want to cut anybody off. If a horse understands their responsibilities, they're engaged if they know. Like the picture of Sticks when he broke gate and he corrected himself. Oh, I'm supposed to be cantering. Yeah, and he just knew. And so he had that understanding. I didn't need to fix it. So I love that he self-regulated himself. And once your horse starts to have that kind of understanding, then they can get just a lot of stuff bleeds away because they know their responsibilities. And again, in the circle game, their responsibilities are to maintain gait, maintain direction, watch where they're going. If I would have kept that video going, like Sticks tripped, and I'm like, oh, he wasn't watching his feet. And maintain gait, maintain direction, watch where you're going. Very important strategies. Cool. So I have a bit of an announcement. There's a, we kind of teased already that the Ohio schedule is about to be let loose. And there are a couple of guests involved this summer. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of them just popped on. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you, if you haven't met her yet, this is Julie Pivison. Hi, Julie.
Hi, guys.
Julie's joining us from the great state of Arizona. And so, Julie, would you like to introduce yourself and talk a bit about what we have planned?
Yeah, absolutely. I will introduce myself. I will start talking about what we have planned, and Tom will very graciously add in all of the details so that I don't get any of them wrong. But I'm Julie Pivison. I'm a 3-star instructor from Southern Arizona, originally from Ohio. And even without knowing it, Tom and I kind of entered into the Parelli Professionals track around the same time. We didn't know each other at the time. We didn't know we were studying the same program. We didn't know we were both going to be instructors, but it kind of all happened very serendipitously that we started together and have become really good friends along the way. And our teaching styles, even though they aren't necessarily similar, are very congruent. And so we have in the past partnered together and team taught some workshops. And we haven't for the last few years. I've been full-time with Pat and Linda on the ranches for the last 2.5 years, but now I'm back teaching full-time in the field. And so Tom and I, this July, will be doing a 3-day, half-day freestyle clinic. So 2 instructors for 3 days. And there are options of additional things in the afternoon, but it's a format that Tom, I just called you Pat, that Tom has been really successful with this past year doing at his facility there in Centerville, Ohio. And so he asked if I wanted to partner with him. And so we're going to give it a whirl. So do you want to share more details on that, Tom?
That's the detail we have. The date will be out shortly, but within the next week or so. I think we're ready to announce the calendar. There's just a few moving parts on the calendar. We just need to double, triple check, but it's looking like July, and I'm real excited for that particular clinic. First of all, the facility suits itself very well to that type of clinic with 2 instructors, and secondly, because it's freestyle, we can divide up into different concepts on each day and divide up different ways and get everybody's needs met with the freestyle clinic. So I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited to team teach with Julie because she has undersold how well we work together because we're both very passionate about what we do, but and we're both very involved in this program, but the way that Julie is a natural with some certain types of horses, and I'm a natural with certain types of horses, and in the middle, in between all that, we complement each other really, really well, I think. And I've really enjoyed my time teaching with Julie, and I'm so excited about it. It's going to be really great. So stay tuned for all the detail on that. And Julie and I were the ones that came up with the 8th game.
Don't you dare post that to anybody on any social media platforms. We really liked teaching this program and we'd hate to be kicked out for coming up with our own system. But it is a running joke between us because Tom and I do get so passionate about teaching and we love teaching and we just we can barely stop teaching. We get so excited about it and we have such a ball when we're all together. So just buckle your seatbelts because it will be a fun ride and lots. We've already thrown around breakout session ideas and just different ways to really help maximize your learning over those 3 days. So thank you to Tom and for inviting me to your facility, and I'm excited to see how it all comes together.
Great, and stay tuned. Julie will be putting some programming together when she's in town as well in Ohio, so stay tuned for that. And I know you'll be at Happenstance May 1st and 2nd, is that correct, Julie?
Correct, May 1st and 2nd, and then we're looking at, that's just a quick trip, and then hauling in for a big chunk of the month of July so bringing the horses and Peppy Dog and everybody.
Oh, great.
Yeah, to get to visit. So we just need a little dose of Ohio, and we are praying our hearts out that it's a safe dose by the time July rolls around, so we can really just enjoy reconnecting with everybody.
Great. Well, thank you, Julie, and hi to Dennis and the team over there. And you're welcome to hang out if you want, or we're gonna, with everyone's permission, we'll go on to the second half topic. And I'm gonna go fast on this one because this one's really good too. But thank you, Julie.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you all.
All right, the second part of this is, oh, that was really cool. Thanks, Julie. And it was like Bonnie, it was the perfect introduction because you were asking about the 1/8 circle. Just to be clear, we have not come up with the Parelli 8th game. It's the 1/8 of the circle because your horse wasn't connected game. This is being recorded, so. All right. So the next topic is two-line driving, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker with this, and I'm going to punt the rest of this to the next one. And I want to point you to some resource because the Tom Pompei program is pretty awesome, but and so is the Julie Pivison program. But we are teaching Pat's program, and this is all right in the Levels program, and it's all there for you. One day I was lucky enough to spend the day with Pat Parelli, and we started talking about the program, and I said to him, I'm not happy with the way or I didn't say I wasn't happy. I said, I'm not happy with my ability to inspire people to go back to the Levels program and do that, because that's what made me what I am as a horseman. And his answer was interesting because I thought it was going to be a technical answer, but it was not. It was a concept answer, and it was a good one. And he said, people need to want to find the information. And that's kind of our job, to inspire that. So I want to inspire you on this for the next one, and it's two-line driving. And we did a lesson here in Florida with a horse named Blue, and really nice mare. And when I first met Blue, oh my gosh, you couldn't do anything. Blue was really right brain extroverted, and you could hardly touch this horse with your hand, and just zooming off with her owner, and it was really rough. Well, this horse has come a long way in a short amount of time because of this program. But there's still a lot of tension, especially when riding freestyle and asking for anything fast. And so one of the things we came up with was, well, how's two-line driving going? And they went, haven't done it. I'm like, oh, so this could really help out a horse understand things from the ground. So your ground game is this, you got a big old ground game and strong ground game, so you can have a nice soft ride. And boy, does this horse need it. So I'm going to pop over here to a before and after, because if you're thinking of two-line driving, there's some preparation that's really quite important. Prior and proper preparation, as they say. And so this is what we were going through, kind of the beginnings of this with Blue. And did it work on the screen? No, of course it didn't. Mine looks fine. All right, I'm gonna stop that video. Is that working?
No.
Still no?
Everybody's shaking their head.
Everybody's shaking their heads no. Okay. Let me try one more thing here. Hold on, please. I see my name right there real strong. More. How's that? Still not there. Is it on the? All right, press play. Yeah, you guys have seen it on the computer now, so everybody's commenting. They can see the computer just hit play, Tom. Just press the play button. All right, so this was the horse named Blue. This is the before picture. And what you'll see is a horse that's really not okay with the concept of that second line and a friendly game problem. So this is Darlene. She's had this done tremendous things with this horse. They're coming along really nicely. They have some nice things going on. But you can see every time that rope moves, the horse is thinking, oh, it's pressure. That rope is pressure. Oh, and she's really perturbed by that rope. So this is one of the prerequisites of understanding before you go into any two-line driving, is to help your horse understand that it's the friendly game there and those ropes can be around them. So what we did to fix this up was we played quite a lot of approach retreat. We broke it into smaller chunks where we could play a little closer and flipping the ropes around her head a little bit. And then if you'll notice, Darlene is playing approach retreat. She's up here in zone 2 and the horse is kind of okay with that. And now she's going to flip it back over into zone 3 and then back to zone 2. And she's trying to be rhythmic, but it's not easy all the time. So then we did more things with helping the horse just understand that, maybe even standing still and then going back to walking only. And then I want to show you, this was just a short time later after Darlene did this, the difference. So this is the after picture. And you can see now Blue has some understanding. He's even licking and chewing there. It's like, oh, that's just a rope. It's not pressure. So that looked really nice. And that's a real important thing. And then this was Darlene's homework to start playing friendly games in zone 3, 4, and 5. And I did it on sticks here just to demonstrate that this was a next step. But there's a little caution here that when you do this, you want to make sure the horse is real good with unwinding and understanding back here in zone 4 and 5. And you've done lots of work to get that horse partnered up. This is a level 3, 4 thing. By the way, Sticks is doing pretty well. We've been working on his ulcers for about 6 months, and we're backing him off on all the ulcer meds now. He seems to be doing quite well. He really likes the hay here in Florida. So now the next step for this little game here is and this is Darlene's homework, is can you flip the rope around? And if you notice, I'm being particularly careful to stay out of the kick zone. You don't want to do this right up next to it, just in case there's any surprises. And you can tell he's bugged by the bugs, but he's doing pretty well. So that's the preparation, some of the preparation key for this. Let me cancel that video. See if I can get mine back on. Start video, cancel spotlight video. Put me back on. There I am. Hi. So there's a lot on this, and I was going to play for you some of the level 4 with Pat Parelli, preparing for the line driving, and I will show you next class. I will show you what was going on with Sticks when I went to move forward. He had a little problem with neutral lateral flexion with the drive lines, and then and no surprise, then he was trying to do outside turns and turn his nose and body when I was asking to circle the other way. So it was a very interesting video on how we worked on that. So we're gonna be running out of time, but I want you all, if you want some homework, to look at level 4 online, in particular 2-line driving. And then there's a couple other students who have raised their hand that wanted some help with 2-line driving. So that might be a really nice topic for next time. You're really good. The other common problem is lack of go forward on 2-line driving. So that point-to-point game is really important to take a look at as well too. So feel free to take a look at that for next time. And even if you think this is like, oh, this is like, I'm not ready for this, it's good to watch it because you can see where this is headed and see the value of some of the things we do in level 2 online that prepare your horse to start working on the 2-line driving. So that's very quite nice. Very quite nice. Where did I learn to speak? Excellent, everybody. Well, we're just about out of time. Are there any other questions or anything anybody needs to ask? Go ahead, Suzanne.
What ropes were you using?
We were with that right brain horse, we used 2 22-foot lines, the regular 22, the thick ones. The reason for that is Darlene didn't bring her feather lines. The feather lines are a little easier. And then with that particular horse's history of maybe kind of getting a little bit emotional, those thicker ropes feel better in your hands if there's any anxiety with the horse or anything. So we just did that in terms of preparation. I find the feather lines to be much easier to use for this. And as I show you the next videos next time too, when you're playing with the drive lines, you're offering your horse a feel with the rope. It's not there's a follow the feel element to it that is just a little easier without the thick rope. But either way, it's fine. You can even use your 45. You can take your 45 and fish it through underneath here and tie it into 2 22s. But for my money and my ease, the feather lines seem to be the easiest for me to use.
Okay, thank you.
Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, Tom, what is the Parelli view on blinkers or blinders? I have full cup and half cup that I have traditionally used when teaching horses to drive. But I got to thinking about it today and talking with Colleen. Is there any point that any of the games or just the connection, trust, kind of flightiness of Goldie, would there be any other application for either of those hoods?
That's a terrific question, Chris. Thank you. I think, never say never, usually say usually. But I think in terms of this application of driving, which is more about line driving and preparing a horse for saddle and ride, that the blinders wouldn't be a great idea because you're taking away some sensory input. I believe, and I would like to point you to a resource as well, but I believe that having a horse really calm, connected, and really with you and understanding is way, way, way the biggest goal. Now, that being said, if you have a horse that's been trained with blinders when driving and then suddenly you decide to take them off and then there's this huge thing. So it comes down to prior preparation for that to answer that question directly. But I don't see a benefit to using them for ground game or preparing for a ride. And I don't really think I want to ride a horse that's not used to seeing everything. I don't want to hold that. I don't want that sensory input to be taken away. So that might be a long answer to a short question or maybe I said that wrong. But anyway, the resource I want to point you to is Driving Naturally, and you'll see that on the Parelli site. It's really, really, really quite good. I've gone through it with a horse, and it's just a superb way. And he talks about blinders and all of that preparation work that goes into having a horse ready to drive. And it's pretty great. It's called Driving Naturally, and it's by Nate Bowers. Nate Bowers' father was Steve Bowers, and in the driving community, Steve Bowers was known as one of the best, most talented people with driving there was. And he unfortunately passed away, but his son kind of took the reins, pun intended, and produced this with the Parellis. It's called Driving Naturally, and I would recommend you check it out. It's really quite good. And I was able to take a horse through putting him into cart with Nate's help, and it was just fantastic. I learned a lot. But I will be the first to say driving, putting a horse in cart is not my specialty. So
Susan had a question.
Susan, go ahead.
Is Susan?
Yeah, go ahead, Susan Roberts.
Okay, so can I ask something off topic?
Go ahead.
So Chance and I have done a lot of point to point and touch it, and he loves barrels because he can go to them and he stops. And I realized that that's become a problem under saddle. That's a real problem because he just goes and he stops. It's like, hey, I'm here, all's good. So I've been trying to get him to circle the barrel and to move. But when I put my leg into him, because we've been doing sideways, he starts going sideways one way or the other. Where do I go to solve it, and what do I need to look at in the levels program?
It's a great one. You know, it would be helpful is to video a little bit of that and send it to me so I can see. But
Okay.
without seeing it, my first thing that came to mind is tip his nose in towards the barrel and let him discover that there's relaxation spiraling into the barrel, and try to use a little bit more hindquarter as you tip that nose towards the barrel.
And I should be going around a barrel. I should be using my inside leg, right? Rather than my outside, just for a normal turn.
Yeah, use your inside leg.
He just goes sideways on me now. So, okay.
Yeah, tip his nose toward it. And this is the horse you had down to us this year? Yeah, so maybe
really quiet, except at your place.
Yeah, well, that happens to all of us. The horse, you know, he doesn't act like this at home. My horses don't either. Put a little cookie or something on the barrel, and this is I'm glad you brought that up, Susan, because when we're talking about the circle game and thinking to the center of the circle, that's huge. That can be huge also, to have that concept of, hey, when we're doing circles, I really want you focused on the center of the circle, not the outside. So putting a cookie there is helpful. And you can
won't go. If I put a cookie there, he will go eat it and he stops. He's like, I love this barrel. I get to stand here and do nothing.
Yeah, but place the cookie or have somebody else place the cookie and then do the circle game and the spiraling in, then there's a reward there to
okay. So go farther and farther until I can get him closer and closer to the barrel.
Yeah, start farther and spiral in.
Good point.
Yeah, and that'll also help his body bends. It'll help the shape, and that'll improve your. There's a communication breakdown, right? He's making an assumption. You mean sideways.
Yeah, he's very good at assumptions.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, guys. Well, we're out of time, and I'd like to thank you for tonight. And remember, our next one is on January 7th. Did I say the date? Yes, I did say the date, right? January 7th. And I'll hit the record stop button, and I'll stay here if you guys want to chit chat and relax a little bit and be social. So thank you, everybody. And if you want to join me with a savvy clap, we'll end the recording. Are you ready? Everybody help me. Now you got to hold your hands in the screen like this. Savvy. Well done, everybody.